Cage Minds, and right now I'm joined by Fit NHB's Chris Roybal. He's going to be on the amateur portion of this Friday's LFA 39 in Vail, Colorado. How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
So, how long have you been training in combat sports and martial arts?
You know, it hasn't been that long. I kind of started with grappling probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and enjoyed that aspect of it. I'm kind of focused on that mostly. And then over time, I started to pick up some of the other disciplines, and I've probably only been doing the entire MMA game probably only the past 3 years or so.
What made you go to the gym, sign up, take that first class? What was it?
Interestingly enough, I got a job as a bouncer at a downtown nightclub, and a lot of the guys I worked with, they all trained out of Fit NHB, and I was surprised, to say the least. Some of the best fighters among them, they weren't meatheads walking around in tap-out shirts or anything like that. They weren't your typical, bruiser MMA, bouncer types. They were actually really cool guys, and they encouraged me a lot to just come by and try it out. So I did, and when I started with grappling, I was just hooked. It's chess, it's moves and counter moves. It's you versus them. There's no team or, aspects not in your control. So, that aspect of the mental part of it really impressed me. And then there's no workout like it. You can run for miles or lift for days, and it's nothing like a few 5-minute rounds.
What was the first fight like? You've had one amateur cage fight. What was that like?
It was intense. A lot of waiting, a lot of build up. The suspense. You try to stay out of your own head. You don't want to overthink it. Our coach has an expression that we don't perform at our highest expectations, but usually our lowest level of training. And that kind of settled right in. It's like once you get in there, it's just you and that guy, and you do what you've been trained to do. You may not make the highlight reel every time. You're trying to stay off of their highlight reel, but it was so intense just to be in there. And I see the rush. I trained for a long time and never wanted to fight, but after a while it was like going to all the practices and never playing a game. I kind of wanted to see how I do, and it was kind of on the bucket list, I'll give it a shot. But once I did it that one time, I'm hooked. It's a rush like no other.
That first fight, you took down Jose Gomez earlier. Beautiful single leg takedown. And then eventually your ground and pound led to the victory. So what was that like, putting those grappling skills that you first started with to real competition use?
It was, in training, you always hold back a little bit. You're always considerate of your training partner. You look for the openings and things like that. But just to be able to open up like that, it was intense, and that was part of it. It was just him and I, and this is what we signed up for. So, to be able to actually have it happen, like to have all those practices, and to actually finally be in a game was impressive. I enjoyed it.
How long after that first one did you tell the coaches, okay, yeah, I want to do this again, sign me up for another one?
I think it was on the way back to the dressing room. I was ready to go, and win or lose, I think that the experience would have been very similar. Just the build up, the focus that it gives you to have that direction. I wasn't just going to practice anymore just because it was my time to go. It was I had something coming up. So, that kind of focus let me become so much better in the weeks prior to the event that, I'm all about it.
It seems like from talking to you, fighting martial arts kind of fit right in with who you are.
That's an interesting concept because, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have agreed with you at all. I didn't know that that's who I was. It opened up a side of me. I hadn't really competed in any organized sports growing up, and I was always kind of a scrawny kid. And over time, I kind of developed that little man syndrome when I was a teenager. So I started lifting, and I just put on a lot of muscle and didn't know what to do with it. Didn't know anything. Didn't really have a focus for it, and that's how I got that bouncer job. Is I just kind of looked the part. I looked like a meathead, and so I slid in there. And then over time, I've gotten a lot smaller, but I feel so much better. And it gives you a confidence that I think just lends itself to all aspects of your life. So I think more than me finding MMA and MMA fitting me, I've grown to fit MMA.
Wow, how did you just come up with that now, or had you been thinking about that kind of theory for a while?
I really just came up with that now. I mean, it's just thinking back over the years, I wouldn't have been your typical MMA guy.
And now this Friday, second amateur fight. First one was here at home. Hitting the road now with the team, going up to Vail, Colorado, taking on Matthew Powers, who, as far as I'm seeing, already has 2 fights under his belt. What do you think of the experience ahead of you this week?
Looking forward to it. Nothing but good experiences. Win and lose, I hope to represent the gym and the training well. But it's just one of those. It's a life experience. This is stuff that you put on that life resume. These kind of things. There's nothing like just being up against one-on-one with another guy who wants to take you out.
Winning is always a goal. Do you have any other goals kind of for this fight? Any other small things you'd like to accomplish or get done in the cage?
I'd like to show some of the development, provided the opportunity. Our gym trains in multiple disciplines, and they do so exceedingly well. So I'd like to, be able to demonstrate any number of those, provided again the opportunity. And just, develop some stand-up, maybe a little bit, is something I've been working on. I've always, my forte has been grappling, but I look to work on, we've got excellent stand-up coaches and we've got excellent wrestling coaches. So provided that opportunity, I'd like to show, demonstrate, represent our gym.
Thinking about this one, what do you fight for?
Interestingly enough, it's me and my gym. It's just that's kind of all it is. Once you're in there, it's just you. It's only you showing up to practice. It's only you applying yourself, and that's the biggest aspect of this. And it is a team sport in the way that you have teammates that help you, and you have coaches. But once they lock that gate, it's just you, and that's who you're fighting for. Is I'm fighting to not become a part of his highlight reel. I'm fighting to maintain my respect, and just go in there and do what I've been trained to do.
Friday night, Chris, how do you get your hand raised?
I'm guessing an early submission.
Chris Roybal, do you have any people you need to thank or shout out to?
Absolutely. The list is long, but to paraphrase quickly, I'd have to say, first and foremost, the coaches over there at Fit NHB. They've got an awesome staff from Tom Vaughn, Arlene Sanchez, Steve Hanna, Matt Priest. They're all people who have helped all my training partners, the guys that I'm going to be up there with, as well as everybody who's got stuff coming up. Excellent crew down there. Just friendly guys you'd want to hang out with outside the gym. And then lastly, my friends and family. They've been very supportive, and I don't know that I could do that without them.
Thank you for the time, sir. Look forward to seeing you in action this Friday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.